The episode that caught her attention was called Her Cups Runneth Over.
I remember some specific stuff in that episode that was, at the time perceived as really, really racy. I took a close-up shot of a girl's backside as she walked across the room, and you didn't see that on TV. It wasn't gratuitous. It actually set up a really funny line.
Let's see the Japanese build a better one of those.
It was a totally legitimate moment in setting up the comedy, but it was also some stuff that kind of, rubbed some folks the wrong way.
I sent my children out of the room after 5 minutes of this trash, but I'm excited to watch and see what kind of low-class advertisers will support this type of program.
When Terry Ricolta went on a rampage about the show, one of the things that she did was call our production offices directly.
Fox was such a small network at the time, they didn't even have a department to field complaint calls. So they connected Ricolta directly to Marcy Vosburgh, the writer of the episode.
I got a phone call saying, somebody didn't like Her Cups Runneth Over, that was your baby, take the call. All right. So I answered the phone, and there's this woman saying, I saw your show last night. It was absolutely offensive and everything. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, and I can understand that. My mom doesn't really like the show very much either. But we're just trying something a little bit new. And I said, we sort of take a British approach to censorship. If it's offensive, you can always change the channel. There was no protocol for how to handle complaints, and they usually sent me out because I was the wimp. I was always the sweetest person, so they figured I wouldn't get us into big trouble. Mistake, they were wrong.
The conversation with Marcy Vosburgh did nothing to subdue Ricolta's resolve, and she launched a letter-writing campaign to the sponsors.
She had faxed all of the CEOs of companies that were advertising on our show.
If you indeed support this type of programming message, I will be obligated to take the next step and start a boycott of all your products.
I remember walking into the office, and one of the secretaries explained to me that, his housewife in Michigan had written to Fox complaining about the show and that she was being apparently taken very seriously, and I'm still kind of laughing at this, because I'm just, when you say one housewife, you mean as in one housewife? You want me to address this seriously?
Wouldn't have said this a month ago, but I can say honestly that one person does make a difference.
In an unprecedented response to just one viewer's letter, several huge corporations agreed and pulled their ads from the show. Said McDonald's, we felt the program was not consistent with our family image. Procter & Gamble replied, we share Mrs. Ricolta's interests in quality TV programming.
And it took me almost the entire day to realize that this is really serious.
I almost got fired. The network was like, get rid of her, she'll be the token fire, and then we could say we did something, and Ron and Mike said, no. We made her take the call, and you're lucky. If Marcy hadn't taken the call, it would have been worse.
It was a page one story in the New York Times. Fox executives wouldn't comment to me. They would not speak to me for the article. So that shows what a hot button issue it was at the time.
Fearful that they would lose much needed advertiser support, Fox clamped down on programming and refused to air an episode titled, I'll See You in Court.
There was an episode that we shot that was deemed, in light of this controversy, too sexy to broadcast.
The episode featured a storyline about spicing up your sex life through something called Vegetable Night.
I want to have sex on the kitchen table.
I want to have a meal on the kitchen table.
Because it came so close on the heels of the Ricolta thing, they just, can't do that. You watch this episode now and you just, what, are you kidding me? This was the big deal?
Advertisers, and now Fox, were afraid of the negative publicity surrounding the show.
The concern with the network at the time was because Married with Children was still finding its footing. It was still in that critical stage where, okay, are we going to get through the first 5 years of development, or are we going to crumble because all of our advertisers are going to pull?
After just 3 seasons, Fox executives would have to make a decision: ride out the storm of controversy or abandon ship and cancel Married with Children. Married with Children was in its third season when conservative Michigan housewife Terry Ricolta watched an episode and thought it was too offensive to be on TV. She launched a media blitz, urging consumers to boycott the show's sponsors and its network.
What you did was write major corporations, the sponsors such as Coca-Cola.
Yes. And I asked them, why were they promoting this type of programming?
Major advertisers got nervous and pulled their support. Many thought that Fox might also succumb to pressure and cancel the show.
This is the first real controversy that Fox, the network, was involved in, and I guess they didn't know what to do. Everybody was afraid.
But as the saying goes, bad publicity is better than no publicity.
Suddenly, people are like, what is she talking about? What is this little show that I've never seen or never heard of?
What Terry Ricolta didn't realize was that she was doing Fox and Married with Children a favor. They didn't have the money to compete with ABC and CBS. They couldn't put out full-page ads in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. They couldn't advertise on some of the other outlets the big three had.
If there's controversy about a show, people will watch it to see what they're missing. And then you have a chance to keep that audience.
Ironically, she helped the show tremendously. A lot of the more timid advertisers left the show because of her protest, but advertisers who paid more money came in after.
I know if this show continues to pull the highest ratings, like it will now because it's on everybody's lips, they're going to come flying back in, on their knees and just say, please, take our money, please. We got to advertise on this show.
After the Ricolta affair, through 1989, Married with Children set an all-time television record by increasing its overall ratings an unprecedented 117%.
I knew Married with Children was a hit when I was at the Vons in Los Angeles, and there was a person in front of me and a person behind me in line and the checker who were talking about the episode that had just aired.
Ricolta's campaign to shut down Married with Children backfired, and she found herself the brunt of jokes on the show.
The producers of Married with Children every now and then would write in a line about some crazy woman in Michigan who's calling to complain.
Oh, I thought it was a hit.
Well, some woman in Michigan didn't like it.
Just little inside things that we would do to amuse ourselves.
Behind the scenes, I understand they sent her gift baskets of, fruit and things every Christmas.
It wasn't us. It wasn't Ron and I. She had caused us too much in the way of problems and, digestive ailments for us to send her anything. But, I'm glad someone did.
By now, Al Bundy had become a not-so-heroic hero for the working class.
The guys got a letter one day from a guy in Pittsburgh who basically said, I have a job I don't care for, a wife that doesn't seem to love me, I have 2 kids that don't give a damn whether I'm coming or going, and as bad as any given week in my life is, I know that at 9 o'clock on Sunday nights, I can turn on the TV and see that Al Bundy's is even worse.